Good evening, you're with India Upfront. I'm Vikas Gupta, and on the show today, breaking are all the updates coming in as far as Rhea Chakraborty and the drug ring in Mumbai that's unraveling. A drug ring that the Enforcement Directorate stumbled on, a ring that the Narcotics Control Bureau took over. Today, 12 days after the NCB took over the investigation, Rhea Chakraborty has been arrested, and sources within the agency have told us that they're going to seek a 14-day judicial custody of Rhea Chakraborty. The charges that she faces out of consumption and administering drugs to Sushant Singh Rajput, and the most important one, that of procurement. A charge that attracts imprisonment of up to 10 years. So this is a very, very significant development that is currently underway. Let's quickly go across to our reporters on ground who've been reporting on this story, not just today, but for the past several weeks. With us is Mohit Sharma. Siddhant Mishra also joins us, as does Tamal Saha. We'll go across to each of these reporters in just a moment. I want to come to you first, Siddhant. Take us through what's likely to happen in the court. Senior officials of the Narcotics Control Bureau have told us that they will not be pressing for police custody, given the fact that they have already interrogated her for 3 days now.
Well, that's absolutely right, Madhav. It is very clear now that they are not going to ask for her remand, but surely they are going to oppose her bail. Now, we have been confirmed that this magistrate can give a bail to Rhea Chakraborty, and mostly Mr. Manish Shinde is going to move bail. Now, this hearing is currently going on through video conferencing, where Mr. Manish Shinde is connected. At the same time, Rhea Chakraborty, the judge, and public prosecutor is connected. Even Sameer Wankhede, senior IRS officer leading this team, is also present in that room. Now, the fact here is that since the agency is going to reject the bail, it would really be interesting to see whether court grants bail to Rhea Chakraborty or sends her to judicial custody. If Rhea gets judicial custody, then whether Rhea will be spending her night here at Narcotics Control Bureau's lockup, or she will be sent to the Baikala prison. So we are still waiting for a clarity on that development, but surely the hearing has started, and very soon we'll get the latest details for our viewers.
All right, stay with us. Stay with us. In fact, we have some breaking news coming in. In fact, a tweet that has been put out now. We're going to take you through that particular tweet before we go across. In fact, that's a tweet of Majid Memon. Says Sushant's death probe is unduly prolonged and diversified. It is now appearing to be more of a tug of war between the centre and the state. Let's go right across to Mohit Sharma, who's joining us. Mohit, in fact, comments just coming in. The political arena is where, in fact, a tug of war is going on, is the allegation of the NCB leader and top lawyer Majid Memon. But at this point of time, certainly what we are reporting are all the twists and turns, all the developments as far as the investigating agencies are concerned.
Well, absolutely, Madhav. You know, this is something that we've been seeing ever since the news of Sushant Singh's death really came out. We had seen how, you know, there seems to have been no real investigation into the case. Everything that has been revealed has come because of the fact that at least 3 central agencies were involved in it. If you see the transaction bit, it was the ED. If you look at the entire, you know, noting down...
Let's go across to Mr. Majid Memon. Mr. Majid Memon, why do you say that this is a tug of war between the centre and the state? Here you have investigating agencies who are following the due process. In fact, even as we speak, she has been arrested. She is being presented before a court of law. Where is the scope for any kind of fight between the centre and the state, sir, in this?
This expression of mine is as an Indian citizen and as a practicing lawyer, not the NCP's stand. You see, therefore, you please don't count this as the stand of a Nationalist Congress Party's stand, which is a part of the government. You take it as a statement of an individual who is a lawyer and has been a member of parliament for 5 years.
What do you mean by unduly prolonged and diversified? What do you mean by that?
What I mean to say is that common people in this country are very anxious to know the truth about Sushant's death. Whether it's a case of simple suicide by a desperate person, or it was an abetment of suicide case, or it is a homicide not amounting to murder, or it's a homicide amounting to murder. Now, we are all sitting with fingers crossed for more than 2 months now. This is the 3rd month. Initially, when Mumbai police was doing investigation, a large number of people. And
Sir,
more
if 2 months were
particularly
given to
from Bihar.
Mumbai police, surely we can wait a little more than 3 weeks for the central agencies such as the CBI and the ED, or the CBI in particular, which has been mandated by the Supreme Court to investigate this issue, sir.
What I have said. Supreme Court, of course, I thought that, well, CBI should do a better job. CBI has taken over the investigation, and CBI is also at work for quite some time now. But CBI has not been able to get anywhere near the truth so far. And
All right, Mr. Majid Memon. All right, Mr. Majid Memon, I'm sorry, there's some more breaking news coming in at this moment. The Narcotics Control Bureau has formally sought 14 days of judicial custody. That's the development coming in. This is a big development at this point of time. In fact, we've told you first here on Times Now. Let me take this across to Tamal, who's joining us. And in fact, Priyank also with us. I want to go across to Priyank first. Priyank, you broke the story that NCB is not going to press for police custody, and that's exactly what's happened inside the court. Priyank.
Yes, Madhav, because we were the first channel which said that NCB has got a go-ahead to go and arrest Rhea Chakraborty. In fact, we have also, the detail of how NCB managed to arrest Rhea Chakraborty. But before that, since our colleagues Bhavtosh and, Kajal has brought this piece of information, which is a 6-page remand copy of the Narcotics Control Bureau, where they have sought, 14 days of judicial remand from the concerned court. The copy also states, Madhav, as I would read, that Samil Mirinda, Dipesh Sawant, Shouvik Chakraborty, all of them have been working in close connivance. Therefore, it's clear by the statement of the respondent, which is Rhea Chakraborty, is an active member of the drug syndicate connected to the drug supplier, which is very important. That's how, Madhav, the Section 29 of NDPS Act came into, where the Narcotics Control Bureau have stated that it was not for the first time Rhea Chakraborty attempted to procure drugs. It was a repeated attempt by Rhea Chakraborty to procure drugs. And that is a thing which has nailed Rhea. Later to that, they are also saying that the present respondent used to manage finance for drugs procurement along with Sushant Singh Rajput. So Sushant's name is also being mentioned. That is as per the record of Rhea Chakraborty. So the NCB is also maintaining that there was a role of Sushant Singh Rajput, late Sushant Singh Rajput. And as per the disclosure of the statement of the respondent Rhea Chakraborty on 8th of September around 3:45 is the exact time. Is Mojuddin would highlight this particular point, Madhav. So the exact time of arrest is mentioned here. It's 3:45 hours.
But Priyank, I want to just hold you back for just a minute there, because this is a very, very important point that is being made over here. Two important points that you've just read out for us from that remand note. The fact that she is an active member of a drug syndicate who is connected with this entire syndicate. That's a very, very significant point that has been made. And also saying that she manages the finance for drug procurement for Sushant Singh Rajput. This is a very, very important aspect, because this really at some level or the other would raise some very serious questions as far as the criminality of Rhea Chakraborty's role in terms of drug procurement. It's not just the fact that she was procuring it. Of course, she's also a user, but these are specific points that have been made in this entire note, Priyank, very significant. I want to quickly bring in Tamal on that. All our reporters, please stay with us. Tamal, this is very significant because it has been put down in black and white. It is on paper. The fact that, or the allegation or the charge that she was the active member of a drug syndicate.
Well, Madhav, I would try and focus on para 10 of this remand copy that Times Now has exclusively accessed, and it clearly says that during statement, Shouvik Chakraborty has revealed that he used to facilitate the delivery of drugs through Abdul Basit Parihar by Kaizan, Abraham and Zaid. These deliveries used to be received by aides of Sushant Singh Rajput, and every delivery and payment was in conscious knowledge of Rhea Chakraborty, and even sometimes payment and choice of drug was confirmed from Rhea Chakraborty, something very, very incriminating. During statement, Samil Miranda also disclosed that he used to procure drugs on direction of Sushant Singh Rajput and Rhea Chakraborty, and disclosed that financial matter in this regard were being dealt by Rhea Chakraborty and Sushant Singh Rajput. During statement, Dipesh Sawant disclosed that he used to receive drugs for Sushant Singh Rajput on his directions, and on several occasions Rhea Chakraborty also instructed him. furthermore, the financial issues for purchase of drugs were also being dealt by Sushant Singh Rajput and Rhea Chakraborty. Dipesh Sawant used to receive drugs with Samuel Miranda for consumption of Sushant Singh Rajput. Now, these are statements made by all the accused. But one thing that comes very clear from the remand copy that Times Now has exclusively accessed is the complacency of Rhea Chakraborty in the entire nexus. The very fact that she had indulged in the financial transactions only has prompted NCB to invoke Section 27A of NDPS, which means illicit financial transaction, illicit traffic for something that is concerning drugs. So this remand copy clearly suggests that NCB is seeking for 14 days of judicial custody. Why? Because her name has cropped up in the financial
of a drug syndicate, the fact that she was procuring drugs for consumption, the fact that she was managing finances. I want to quickly go right back to Priyank, who's also been reading this out for us. Priyank, if you've gone through the entire remand note, these are charges that were spoken about, but now it is there on paper, and this is what Rhea Chakraborty and her legal team will be confronted with in the court.
Yes, Randy Madhav, it's very important because what we have been talking about, what evidences Times Now has managed to gather during the course of investigation, everything is now into black and white. Let me once again go back. If you go to this particular page, Madhav, the NCB is saying that during the statement, Souvik Chakraborty has revealed that he used to facilitate drugs and through Abdul Basis Parihar and by Kazad Ahmed Zaid, and these were the delivery used by the aides of Sushant Singh Rajput. And every delivery and the payment was a conscious knowledge of Rhea Chakraborty, which means that Rhea was aware about all these procurement. And even sometimes payment and choice of drug was confirmed by Rhea. So Rhea was the one who was not only knowing about the procurement of drug, she was also the one who used to decide that what sort of drug will come into that building of Sushant Singh Rajput. Later to that, during the statement of Dipesh Sawant, he has disclosed that he used to receive drugs for Sushant Singh Rajput. That is the claim which the agencies will have to establish before the court of law. And what they have said that there were several directions from Rhea Chakraborty at several occasions, also instructed him. Furthermore, the financial issue of the purchase of drug were also being dealt by Sushant Singh Rajput and Rhea Chakraborty. Dipesh Sawant used to receive. So all those testimonies, Madhav, which has been given before the Narcotics Control Bureau here, what these people who are subject to interrogation have named Sushant Singh Rajput to save their skin. That is for clear. So at every para, Madhav, if you go clearly, these people have named Sushant Singh Rajput.
Priyank, please stay with us. We have Priya joining us in the news pit. Priya, in fact, if you could very quickly read out those main points, the fact that finances were being managed, the fact that instructions were being given by Rhea, and also the fact that she's an active member of the drug syndicate, which really, in fact, shows that she was managing, that Rhea Chakraborty was actually handling this entire drug ring, and it's a very, very serious charge.
Right, Madhav, sorry I couldn't hear you earlier. So this is the operative part where, and I will just quickly quote for our viewers what exactly does this document say. It says that Rhea has acknowledged the statements that she was confronted with and her role has been explained. During statement, present respondent Rhea has revealed about her involvement in, and this is important, procurement of drug and financial transaction, and also her instructions to Samuel Miranda, Dipesh Sawant and Souvik Chakraborty in this regard. Remember, this is a reference to the drug chats that Times Now had first got for our viewers that she had, where she's talking about procurement of drugs and also talking about how she's going to pay for them. Therefore, it is clear from the statement that respondent is an active member of drug syndicate connected with drug supplies. Irrefutable, unequivocal charge that has been made against Rhea Chakraborty. It is also clear from the statement that the present respondent used to procure drugs for Sushant Singh Rajput for consumption purposes. The present respondent used to manage finance for drug procurement along with Sushant Singh Rajput. As per the disclosures in the statement by the present respondent Rhea Chakraborty, she has been arrested. So, Madhav, this document clearly saying that Rhea has not only agreed that she did all this, she is also actually caught in a web of her own lies, because she had been denying all this while.
Absolutely. In fact, she has denied several of these charges in the past, and now the question is that whether she and her legal team will be able to explain her conduct in a court of law. We don't want to judge anyone, but certainly, of course, we will continue to track all the developments coming in from that court there. Thanks so much, Priya, as well as our reporters Priyank, Tamal, Mohit Sharma and Siddhant, who have been bringing us all of these developments. Kajal as well as Bhavtosh as well, who brought us a copy of that particular remand note. Let me now, on that note, quickly go across to our guests who are joining us. With us is Tuhin A Sinha, spokesperson of the BJP. Dr. Anand Ranganathan, author, is with us on the broadcast. Also with us is Surinder Chauhan, advocate, joining us. Vikas Gupta, lawyer, also with us on this particular broadcast. I want to begin with you, Dr. Anand Ranganathan, because this is very, very important. Managing the finance, an active member of a drug syndicate, a person who was instructing others and responsible for the procurement. All of this really shows that Rhea Chakraborty is certainly, at least does not appear to be the kind of innocent person that she was projecting herself out to be all of these days. The NCB has put this down on paper. They will have to ultimately walk the talk also in a court of law and prove all of these very important charges that attract some very, very strict penalties as far as the law is concerned.
Yeah, good evening, Madhav. Indeed, as I said the other day to you, the drugs angle not only provides a motive for Sushant's murder, it may actually result in the biggest cleanup Bollywood has ever seen. And I want to know who would object to that. So, even if it turns out that the drugs angle is unconnected to the murder as yet, the least we are looking at are dozens of convictions on charges of drug peddling, procurement and consumption. Some of these charges have been accepted by the accused. Now, the charges against Ms. Chakraborty are that she is an active member, quote unquote, active member of a drug syndicate. Remember when her brother Shavik was arrested, many took the fact that no drugs were found on him as somehow vindication of his innocence. As someone commented then, it was like saying Lalu arrested for fodder scam but no chara found on him and therefore he must be innocent. As far as this case is concerned, the CBI is on it. It has been only 2 weeks, give it some time. But I want to ask those on your panel and even otherwise who are mocking this arrest because it is as yet not connected to the murder. Are you saying that an illegality or crime, if discovered, should not be prosecuted? Then say so.
Mr. Vikas Gupta, would you like to respond to that? If there is an illegality and there are some very, very grave charges that have been put here by the NCB, should this not be investigated? Should this logical conclusion not be reached?
No, Madhav, nobody is objecting whether it should be investigated or not. Of course it should be. You read out certain portions of the remand application which is in your possession. I don't have it. It doesn't make out offence under 27A or 29 also as far as sending her for judicial custody is concerned. And why I say so? 27A is for financing of illicit trafficking. You can't make out a case when you are procuring it for your consumption and for Sushant's consumption. You made out as if NCB has arrested El Chapo or Pablo Escobar in India. 27A is not even attracted to couriers who are caught with 5 or 10 kgs of heroin in Delhi. The matters which we look into it.
Okay.
So 27A, please allow me to complete, Madhav. Very, very important, because Anand would have said many things, but may not be legally correct also.
We'll go to another lawyer after you finish, sir, but quickly make your point, please.
Yeah, I know Mr. Sundaram is there. And 29 is for the purposes of conspiracy, and for this, it has to be with relation to a substantive offence. Here, all the chats which were leaked and the chats of Rhea along with Samuel Miranda and others talks about a small quantity, which in itself is a bailable offence.
Okay. They may not be commercial qualities, but they're also not insignificant qualities. That is the statement that had come in from the NCB earlier, sir. Please stay with us, Mr. Gupta. I want to get in a response to Mr. Aryama Sundaram. Mr. Aryama Sundaram, what we have managed to glean through as far as the remand application is concerned, talks about managing finance, talks about instructions being given by Rhea, and calls her an active member of a drug syndicate. However, Mr. Vikas Gupta says that the significant sections such as 29 and 27A are not attracted because she is not, quote unquote, El Chapo. Do you agree with him?
Madhav, shall I tell you something? In all frankness, I'm more bewildered than Alice was in Wonderland about things getting curiouser and curiouser. Let me tell you why. You all started this we all were so concerned about Sushant Singh Rajput's death, and we were talking about justice for Sushant. Shall I tell you what you may not have noticed in that remand report? That remand report paints Sushant as the primary procurer of drugs, and these people as his agents, the in-betweens to help him get those drugs. If that remand report is damning, unfortunately, it's the very person whose justice you are looking for who has been damned in that report. Because what they say is a drug syndicate to procure drugs for Sushant. What does that make him? It makes him the primary procurer, which means if he was alive, he would have been first accused. Do you realize that? And you know where this tangent is going, where it started, is totally different. On this, I'm totally with the panelists who spoke first. I'm so glad that indirectly we have at least come to a stage of trying to clean up this drug mess. But if we look into it now and talk about this usage of drugs, then I would say that half of socialite Delhi, Bombay, Bangalore, half of the film industry, half of the fashion industry, half of so many industries as the public perception is. I'm not saying it's like that. The public perception would all fall into this. But let's not forget, where have we gone? Are we now talking about justice for Sushant, or are we talking about the drug racket being broken? If we're talking about the drug racket being broken, I'm very happy about it. But don't forget that that remand report, the very lines you have read earlier, makes them a drug syndicate to procure for whom? Who is the kingpin of the procurement according to the
Sure. No, nobody is denying that.
And
nobody is denying that. There are parallel investigations, Mr. Sundaram. I am not saying for a moment that the CBI and the ED should also be investigating this case.
Appreciated.
Yeah. No, I'm not for a minute saying that the CBI or the ED who are also investigating their case, what their investigations will finally bring up. I am certainly no soothsayer, but from what is in front of us, does this mean that Rhea Chakraborty, in your opinion as a lawyer, could be looking at some serious legal action? Because to the best of my understanding, there are certain sections for which the minimum punishment, if proved of course in a court of law, is as high as 10 years, sir.
Frankly, I think on the evidence as seen now, I'm not going on the remand report. The remand report has made a lot of allegations. But the evidence as has appeared till now, and of course we are not privy to all the evidence, so I can only talk about what has appeared till now, appears that she was A, consuming drugs, B, was consuming drugs with her partner. Her partner was a big consumer of drugs, and she used to help get the drugs for herself and her partner, which will bring them more into the consumer bracket than into any kind of trafficking bracket.
Okay.
And therein lies a slight difference in the seriousness.
All right. Let me quickly get in a word from some of our other panelists. Tuhin Sinha is also with us. Tuhin Sinha, do you agree with Mr. Sundaram's sort of analysis of the situation, where he says that, of course, we need to know who the killers of Sushant Singh Rajput, if at all he was murdered, or whether it was a suicide, there has to be some kind of a clarity on that. But he says that the kind of charges at this point of time, as far as Rhea Chakraborty is concerned, we've also read out what the remand note specifically contains, at least what we've been able to glean through. And the remand note, I believe at least, does not paint a very good picture or an easy road ahead, at least, as far as Rhea Chakraborty is concerned. Tuhin Sinha.
Well, the way things stand today, there was certainly an organized crime which had been unfolding over several months. And the death of Sushant Singh Rajput, or the murder of him, was only the end result of it. So this crime has basically unfolded over several months. Today, obviously, the NCB has certain leads, but I'm sure that the ED and the CBI, they have not, their investigation is not over. So this case is a far more complex case. My only consolation is that we are at least moving in the right direction, because till a month back, do you think the Maharashtra government would have allowed the inquiry to even the investigation to reach this level, where this entire drug cartel is being exposed? And I still believe that his death is linked to the drug cartel, which we will see in the days to come.
All right, it's linked to the drug cartel. Let's quickly get in a word from Payal Rohatgi as well. Payal Rohatgi, your response to what has transpired today. In fact, what's going to happen in the court, of course, is going to be monitored very closely. But the charges that we are looking at, as far as Rhea Chakraborty is concerned in that remand note, are quite serious. I'm just going to repeat them for you, if you, since you're just joining us on this debate. Managing finance, being an active member of a drug syndicate, instructing others. Are you surprised? with the seriousness of the charges?
Well, I'm not surprised about the charges. It's just that, like I was hearing the debate, a gentleman said that she has come into the consumer bracket and not in the trafficking bracket, which is the correct point. So obviously it's a bailable offence, and she might get bail today or whatever tomorrow. So it's not a big deal of her being arrested right now. Her arrest was inevitable because she was a part of the drug racket. The only thing is here that across is that she is a liar and she's a manipulator. She's obviously putting the entire blame of consuming drugs also on Sushant Singh Rajput. Just like she put the blame on Sushant Singh Rajput that he used to tell me to WhatsApp from my phone the procurement of drugs. So she put everything on the dead man, who apparently she used to love a lot after his so-called death, and she's asked the Home Minister to find the details of his unnatural death by a CBI inquiry. So this shows what a hypocrite love she had for Sushant Singh Rajput, because even now her lawyer is publicizing the fact that she was in love with a drug addict who had mental issues. So suddenly the love has gone into the thin air, and she has come down to accuse the man she was in love with.
Let me bring in Sona Mahajan on that. Sona Mahajan, here is a person who is actually coming out and defaming the person that she was allegedly, or at least by her own admission, in love with. And the fact is that the statements that she has made in the public domain of not having anything to do with the drugs and the charges that have now come out in this remand note are completely contradictory.
Madhav, first of all, the first thing which loses the moment the vested interests get involved is justice. If we look at how things have progressed from the beginning, from murder to abetment of suicide to money laundering to now it's come to drugs. I'm sure you would have got the copy of the NCB remand copy. You must have got it. If you notice, there were some media portals who reported that Rhea has admitted to the NCB that she has consumed drugs. Now, when the copy has come out, it says that she has not admitted it. From the beginning, she's been maintaining that she used to get drugs, but it was for Sushant. Now, this is a matter of investigation, and these sections that you're talking of, they are very broad sections. NCB is an investigating agency. End of the day, this report will also go to the court, where a lot of arguments will happen, evidence stage will come, and that's when the court will come to a conclusion. I really feel that we should act responsibly and not use words like manipulative, liar for somebody unless the person is proven guilty in the court of law.
No, but this is what these WhatsApp chats. One second. Nobody is trying to play judge here. But I want to say, Sonam.
Madhav, I can't hear you. Madhav,
ladies, one at a time.
If you can mute the other person down, I would be able to hear you.
10 seconds, please.
Payal wants to respond to. Yes, Mr. Vikas, I'll come to you, sir. There are others who have not yet spoken. Payal,
Sonam Mahajan is obviously saying that we don't need to call her a manipulator and a liar. Well, fine enough, you have a right to your opinion, but I would call her a manipulator and a liar because she's the one who never acknowledged relationship for a year, living in with Sushant Singh Rajput, who's accessing his credit card.
You can exercise your freedom of expression.
Now you want to play a middle thing of being nice to the feminists and obviously being nice to Rhea Chakraborty, and on the way saying that you want justice for Sushant Singh Rajput. No partner obviously procured drugs.
One thing I want to tell you is
before I go into the break, I just want to ask a quick question of Mr. Aryama Sundaram. Ladies, please, just a minute, please, because we are going to slip into a quick break. But Mr. Aryama Sundaram, the charges that Rhea Chakraborty has always maintained all along. She has said that she was never a consumer. She has said that she has denied even, in fact, as far as the procurement aspect is concerned. But, my simple question is this. If she says that she is a person who was, in love with an individual who had mental health issues, procuring and feeding this person drugs, it just doesn't add up. There seems to be something very seriously wrong there.
You love a person, why would you give him more?
I think you have to look at one thing. What is another unfortunate thing which is coming out is now he's branded as a man who had mental health issues. Now, on the one hand, he's being branded as a man who was a habitual user of drugs. He's being branded as a man with health issues. Unfortunately, this branding has been done by investigative agencies. My whole point is that if this man, according to so much other evidence amongst his friends, say that he enjoyed smoking grass or whatever it was, then it's not as though she was injecting it into him, so to speak. At least that's what the evidence is showing. All I'm trying to say is, look, the man is dead, and today, unfortunately, this remand report has not painted a very good picture of him.
All right. We'll discuss this remand report. So I request you and all our other panelists to stay on with us. We're slipping into a quick break, but we'll continue with this discussion in just a few moments. Welcome back. In fact, the second story that we are debating at this point of time is the fact that Team Rhea has chosen to slander Sushant, a man who can't defend himself, by claiming that Rhea is being hounded by 3 agencies for being in love with a drug addict. Let's quickly take this across to our guests who are joining us. I want to quickly go across to Roshan Gary Binder, director and Sushant's friend. Roshan Binder, how do you respond to this kind of statement? You know, just at the time that Rhea was arrested, there is a choreographed statement that is released by her legal team, which in fact says that Rhea's only fault was that she was in love with a drug addict. So clearly an attempt at trying and portraying herself as a victim, as was done on the day that she appeared before the NCB.
This is all the tactics of the lawyer, of Rhea Chakraborty, to get sympathy for her. This is what they try to. But the fact is, it is not Rhea who is getting punished. It is Sushant who got punished for falling in love with a girl like Rhea, who is a liar, because she lied in her own glorified interview that I do not take drugs, I have nothing to do with drugs, you can do my test, and then you come to know, and she's admitted today that yes, she has connections with drugs. So she's a liar. She's a manipulator. At one time,
please correct her.
All right, Tanvi Pruthi wants to respond to you on that. Yes, Tanvi Pruthi.
Yeah, Madhav, first of all, I would like to correct the previous panelist. I'm so sorry, I don't know her name, that she is not accepted today that she consumed drugs. Yeah, first is that. Secondly, what my submission for today is, and I'm just going to take 2 minutes, please allow me, uninterrupted. So what has happened today is a desperate attempt of face saving by both the sides. This case is clearly going nowhere. From the day one, why I call it a desperate face saving, because from the day one, CBI and ED have done an excellent job in releasing selective evidences to selective media houses to keep the media frenzy going on.
So are you saying that this is not an offence? That the offence she's been arrested for today does not deserve to be investigated?
Not yet given their statement. CBI has not said anything yet. CBI still has to come. Like Tuhin also said, it is only the Narcotics Department who have right now reacted and got her.
Madhav, please give me 30 seconds to complete.
Okay, quickly make your point. Please, quickly make your point. Yes.
Yeah. So I said a few days ago that if Rhea is involved in drug in any kind of activity, I do not support it and she should be arrested. Drug is a big menace in the country that needs to be handled. But what the correct picture is coming out today is that Rhea and Sushant both were involved in the case, and the more this case, we get closer, we get deeper into the case, the more dirty this case becomes.
Okay. Offense is the best form of defense. Priyanka Dev, offense is the best form of defense.
I just want to say this.
That seems to be.
If according to you, Sushant was involved, but Sushant was not a part of that WhatsApp group in which they used to do the deals and all.
This case in Rhea's arrest is really laying down the foundation for drug bust on a large scale.
Okay. Priyanka Dev, yes.
Yeah, so even if thanks Madhav, even if the drug angle doesn't directly link to the death of SSR, and even if there is media frenzy around it, first of all, I'm very happy that Times now is covering it to this extent, because it needs to be highlighted. It shows that, I feel that it's people are calling it a witch hunt, but I feel the witch hunt is very justified, because this case is actually laying down the foundation for drug busts on a large scale. Now, keep in mind that Rhea denied any involvement in drugs before, and today her legal representation is calling her arrest a travesty of justice. But I think the real travesty of justice is when we see, I was in the US at the time, back in 2016, 2017, I saw a drug dealer by the name of Chandaria, I think it was included in one of your shows before, he had profile pictures with Bollywood celebrities as well as
there are n number of questions that have to be answered by Rhea Chakraborty, but I want to quickly, before I go across to you, Tuhin, as well as Anand Ranganathan, I want to go across to Surinder Chauhan. Surinder Chauhan, the question that is being asked is this, that if there are illegalities that the NCB has probed over 12 days, has decided to question Rhea Chakraborty for 3 days, and then finally arrest her, present her before a court of law, can you really call this a witch hunt? Because all legal formalities are actually being followed over here. The charges against Rhea Chakraborty that are there in the remand note appear to be quite serious. Surinder Chauhan.
Precisely, nobody is calling it a witch hunt, but the fact of the matter is there is a very nice saying in the Hindi proverb, Khoda pahad nikli choya. The media started with the suicide, murder, and then now the drug cartel, money laundering. So now, so far, there is no correlation coming in of this drug cartel, this syndicate.
Can you really say that, sir, when the CBI, the ED have not thrown up their hands, they have not thrown in the towel, they have not said that there is no evidence? Can you really say that?
Well said. Now what CBI is doing, CBI is investigated, CBI then ED investigated, now NCB has come. Now one panelist was saying earlier it's a face-saving device. So consumption is bailable offence. Consumption is a bailable offence. And now she's going to get a bail in a day or so. So what the big deal NCB is doing?
Okay, nothing. She's going to get her bail in a day or so. So what NCB is doing is not a big deal. Tuhin A Sinha.
Madhav, let me just come to the other point. Her lawyer has made some very damning charges against Sushant Singh Rajput, who is no more to defend himself today. The words that he has used, that she has paid a price for falling in love with a drug addict are condemnable, to say the least. And the only claim to fame of that lawyer is his proximity to Sonia Sinha. Now, he has been caught lying on at least 2 occasions in the same case. Number one, he came on one of the channels and said that there was a life insurance around the victim, and that is why his family had painted the picture of his murder. The very next day, we came to know that there was no life insurance. He has repeatedly mentioned that the prime suspect has never consumed drugs. The prime suspect was implicated by none other than her own brother, and apparently today she has also confessed to not only consumption but also procurement. So does the lawyer have any credibility? I think we should be, irrespective of what comes out in the case, I am very assured that we are headed on the path of truth, and that is what should really matter. Had it not been for CBI coming in, had it not been for the central agencies coming in, the truth would have been buried long back. This is the Amrit Manthan moment for the film industry, and we should be prepared for it.
You know, there are many who believe, Mr. Vikas Gupta, that, the Mumbai police investigation, which took 60 days, people, of course, in 3 weeks of the CBI and ED investigation are already getting impatient that nothing much has come out of it. But what about the Mumbai police who took 60 days? And who knows? You know, the way that the crime scene was contaminated, the way that forensic reports were, not following the required procedures, it does appear, and also the digital devices that were not, in fact, fully sent for forensic examination, it does appear that there was an attempt at covering up or cleaning up evidence.
Madhav, now the role of Mumbai police is behind us now. I think our discussion should be that CBI, ED and NCB are investigating the matter. I'll again, the last comment, not a comment before this, Mr. Tuhin A Sinha as well as the NCB are trying to make out procurement and self-consumption as an offence as syndicate and cartel. It may be known to them, but law does not recognize such kind of syndicate and cartel, let me remind them. Both Mr. Tuhin A Sinha as well as the NCB department. Let them write whatever they want to write in the remand application. Don't think that whatever the CBI, ED and NCB write in their remand application are accepted by the court. Their purposes is only for the purposes of investigation, and 90% of their cases are thrown out because of the basis of
Anand Ranganathan,
advice of such.
Dr. Anand Ranganathan, do you agree with that assessment of Vikas Gupta? That we need to take everything that the NCB is saying with a pinch of salt. We have to take everything that the ED and CBI is also saying with a pinch of salt. And of course, they will continue to raise questions about their investigation. But even when the NCB finds something, that also should not be taken seriously.
Mr. Madhav, I'm only talking about the quantity. Please understand that. Nothing more than that.
All right, sure. Let others also come in, please, sir.
Yeah, with due respect to my good friend Vikasji, I humbly disagree with him. But Madhav, earlier your panelist, Mr. Aryama Sundaram, made some brilliant points. And, he's a legend. Arguing with him on matters of law is like carrying coal to Dhanbad. But I'll try anyway because I have 2 important points of disagreements with him. Number one, he mentioned that the remand report by the NCB has mentioned Sushant as almost an accused as a drug addict. I tend to disagree because the remand report says that Ms. Rhea Chakraborty has been arrested for procuring, and according to her, she was procuring it for Sushant. So, remand report is quoting Ms. Rhea Chakraborty. Now, is it true or is it not will only come out during later investigations. And number 2, as far as I am concerned, non-application of a law or non-application of a judicial order can never be an excuse for violating that law or that order. So it doesn't matter if half of Delhi or half of Mumbai will come and be arrested for charges of having a few grams of cannabis. It doesn't matter. You can't say that while you're arresting me for murder, you let that guy off for murder. And point number 3, I think that's very important. When CBI is investigating this case, we must remember that CBI is the second agency that has come after Mumbai police had 50 days of keeping evidence with them. Now, I just want you to take this into account. I am not making any opinion. I am quoting just facts. That the Supreme Court allowed CBI and investigative agencies to come and take count of the evidence that was already there with the Mumbai police for 50 days.
Absolutely.
What does that
Absolutely.
say?
No, there's no doubt about that. There's no doubt about that. And before I go to Tanvi Priti, in fact, Vikas Gupta,
drugs in their pocket, they will not be arrested because they can't be arrested.
Okay. Vikas Gupta, can you explain this to me? Can you explain the discrepancy in what, Rhea Chakraborty first asked for a CBI probe into what has happened? All right, claiming that she does not know. And then, of course, now she says that there has been a suicide because of wrong medication that was provided to Sushant Singh Rajput. If she knew that there was wrong medication, what was she waiting for 3 months, sir?
No, Madhav, she was only privy to the SMS that was exchanged between the brother and the sister. This illegal prescription went viral only a couple of days back. And let me also tell you one thing important. Did this fact was disclosed by the family of Sushant Singh in Bihar FIR that they were giving medicines on the basis of a cardiologist for his mental health? And ask them this question.
The question is this. The question is this, that all of this slander, Mr. Vikas Gupta, is only coming at a time when she has been, or her role is coming under a scanner as far as NCB is concerned. All right, Tuhin A Sinha wants to respond to you on that. Yes.
The sad part is that, the Bandra police station apparently has been like a second home to the accused. Even yesterday she sent 4 hours, and yesterday what the Bandra police station did, it had no authority to record a complaint, simply because according to the Supreme Court directive, the Mumbai police has no jurisdiction over the matter. So what the Bandra police has done yesterday amounts to a contempt case against the Supreme Court directive.
You can't register a FIR. Is that the direction by the apex court?
Okay.
Mumbai if she had a complaint, she had to make the CBI privy to it. She had to share it with the CBI during her investigation.
All right.
Did she share her ground?
There are several such inconsistencies. Gentlemen, just a second. Let me just come in over here. There are several such inconsistencies in what Rhea Chakraborty had said earlier and what she's saying now. The question that I'm asking at this point of time, Tanvi Pruthi, you can come in on this, and I'll bring in Roshan Gary Binder right after that. Tanvi Pruthi, simple question I'm asking you is this, that now it seems that Rhea Chakraborty, as far as the grilling or the intense grilling as far as NCB is concerned, somewhere or the other, this has forced her to come out and, sort of make offense the best form of defense, level allegations against Sushant Singh Rajput's family, file a complaint with the Mumbai police, make such charges, appear to be the victim. Because this is the only thing that perhaps she believes is the most prudent legal strategy from here on.
Yeah, I believe that too. I don't disagree with you on that. But I think that it is her right, and she is very much within her fundamental rights to do so. I mean, if the family has got rights, and I'm not taking sides over here, who is correct and who is not. That is for the agencies to decide. But as far as the legality of the matter is concerned, I think she is very much within the ambit of those rights. And if she wants to take the battle, from headstrong, then why not? I think for that, the kind of vilification campaign that she's been a victim of, I think that if she's so I don't really see that as a problem. However, I want to make a rebuttal to Mr. Sinha's point. So point number one, the Supreme Court order never said that they cannot file an FIR, with a separate case. They said that the parallel investigation in the ongoing matter cannot take place. Second point that Mr. Sinha made was his kudos to his optimism about the drug case and the drug angle in the Sushant Singh Rajput case. I hope that his government is equally committed to handle the drug menace in the country, and this problem is not just highlighted to win the upcoming Bihar elections and used as a political tool. We have seen their party's political past in Punjab and in Goa, and we know very well their commitment to handling the issue. So I hope that his optimism, is stated in their actions as well.
Okay. Roshan Gary Binder, do you want to respond to that? Because, here somewhere or the other, the fact that she's within her rights, the fact that she has every right to take whatever legal recourse, she's entitled to. At the end of the day, what's happening is that here is a dead man who is being defamed publicly, a person who cannot save himself.
So you mean to say she has the right to distract the cops? She's saying in her interview that, I have nothing to do with the drugs. And then she is agreeing that, I have something to do with it. Means she is misleading the CBI. She's misleading everybody else. So you mean to say she has the right to mislead the CBI and the other officials? Is this what she's trying to say? And as far as her statement, I used to get this for Sushant, what was she doing in 2017 according to her WhatsApp conversations and all those deals? Because in 2017, she was not in touch with Sushant. And as far as Sushant's drugs, has any of Sushant's friends given a statement apart from Rhea and those three buddies of Rhea who were with her and who are with her into the drug deals and all? Has anybody else said that he was into drugs? No, nobody has said this.
Okay.
Nobody has accepted that he was claustrophobic. We know he was never claustrophobic.
Okay.
We know he never took medicines when he used to fly. I have flown so many times with him.
You know, several lies, Mr.
lie.
Surinder Chauhan, several lies that have been put out in the public domain. That's the charge coming in by Rhea Chakraborty. Now, she has lied through her teeth. It's quite clear because of the number of inconsistencies, including in the statements that have been made today.
Madhav, are you having the confession or any statement of Rhea Chakraborty so far? The answer is no. You are only relying on a remand report where the accusations have been made and the allegations have been
Not
made.
just that, sir, I'm sorry, not just that. In public, she has taken a position as far as drugs and procuring it is concerned. What the ED has found is quite different. You know, the kind of statements that were made earlier were different.
He is taking drugs.
You know, the statements made earlier were very different as far as Sushant's reason or the cause of death is concerned. Today, she openly says that he was a drug addict who committed suicide.
And she also says that I had started doing that only because I was getting
remand report is also saying. That's what your remand report is also saying. Everybody is saying that it was procurement for SSR. Nobody is saying, nobody is denying that.
But it also says that she was in charge of finances, that she was managing affairs, that she was in a part of a WhatsApp group.
For whom the procurement took place.
Madhav, one second.
Took place.
Okay.
Madhav, if I can come in.
Okay, Anand Ranganathan wants to come in on this. Yes, one second. Roshan, 1 second. I want to let Anand come in on this. Yes, Anand.
Yes, Mr. Chauhan, I have a question for you. You are saying everyone is saying that the drugs were procured for Sushant. Can you name me one person who is saying this?
That's what the remand report is saying.
All of them.
Your remand report is saying. That's what Mr. Anand
Remand report is saying that Miss Chakraborty, please. Madhav, you need to clarify this because there is a slander going on.
Yes.
The remand report is saying that Miss Chakraborty says that the drugs, she procured the drugs for Sushant. There is a difference.
So what does it mean? What does it mean?
Let me take this
what does it mean? What does it mean, Mr.
Ranganathan?
It means, Mr. Chauhan, it means that you are going by the words of Miss Chakraborty. That is what it means. So please don't say everyone is saying this. Miss Chakraborty is saying this. It's all right by me if you want to believe Miss Chakraborty. But please don't generalize it by saying that everyone is saying Sushant was taking drugs.
No, what is the case of NCB now?
The case of NCB, I'll tell you. If you allow me, I will tell you.
Now, yes.
Can I tell you?
Tell to the
yes,
nation.
I've understood your question. Let me answer it. The case for NCB. Sir, please. The case for NCB is that Miss Rhea Chakraborty has confessed to procuring drugs. That is the case. And according to Indian law, that is illegal.
All right. We'll have to see ultimately what prevails in the court of law. Gentlemen and ladies, we are completely out of time on the show this evening. Certainly, all eyes will be on this particular case and what will transpire now in the courts. Of course, investigating agencies in this particular case have done their job. What happens from here on, we will have to closely monitor and we will continue to track right here on Times Now. Thanks so much for watching India Upfront.